Shalom, giving all honor, all praise, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rechakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone who rule well. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations. Until hopefully like tabernacle of David scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. Now, every time I come on TikTok, it helps me to think about, how Israel's always contentious. There's always some kind of dispute, some kind of argument, and there's a lot of different beliefs. And when Jake get up on here and voice their opinion on these different platforms, it's like, no wonder why our people are all over the place. Our people, they're on, they're to and fro. They're all over the place. They've, from mountain to hill to hill. Right? They believe this, they believe that. Always got a talking point that really don't be making sense. So our people, they're definitely, they don't have foundation, and you see why our people are just totally confused. So this individual right here, I guess he's a Judiac Israelite, and he's definitely not. I don't think he's one West at all. Because there's nobody that call himself Judiac, a Judiac Jew, all right, in one West. But he has on a attire with the name of the Father and Pelio on his shirt, on his hat. But he has long hair, so I don't even know if he even believes in the New Testament or not. He got his head covered, so if he follows the whole book, especially the New Testament, then praying and prophesying with his head cover is a violation. But I'm not sure if he's doing that in this particular setting here. But he starts to make some statements, right? And the caption, it says, "Tag your favorite Black Hebrew Israelites. There is a difference." So he's throwing shade towards, the Israelites, particularly the ones who believe that we're under the curse. All right. He said Hebrew Israelites don't have strong enough facts to back their claims. So let's listen to this guy real quick.
It's based off a nation that gives you sources that you don't trust in other words. And if you're a real Judaic, if you're a real Jew, if you must understand the law and you understand the government of the law and how justice and empirical evidence is very important when convicting or saying that somebody's guilty of does X, Y, and Z. So when you saying, "Oh, I am a Jew," he was based off, I say text, I mean, you have a chapter starting Deuteronomy 28 after, not the blessings, because we're Judaics and we believe in the Paleo God. And we also believe that by faith that we claim the blessings. This is how we know that we are the children of God, based off.
This dude, what are you talking about, man? So we're basing that we're Israelites off of information that you don't trust. Therefore, you don't believe that we're the people according to the curses in Deuteronomy, but you have faith that you're the blessed. So therefore, that's your faith, and you believe that you're the Israelites. So you really didn't prove anything with what you just said. You just said two contradicting statements, but you think that the latter is what makes you an Israelite versus the Israelites showing that they're cursed people contained in the law, and that's because of what? Because you're not keeping the law. That's why we fell up under the curses in the first place. You, my man, you're not keeping the law. So what do you consider blessed? And you said based off of faith. So we're not allowed to have faith, but you're allowed to have faith. You see how unreasonable Israel is? Just listening carefully to this dude's argument. I'm gonna play it again just so I'm not tripping. Let me play it again, and then we'll get a couple scripts.
Give you sources that you don't trust in. Using evidence based off a nation that gives you sources that you don't trust in other words. And if you're a real Judaic, if you're a real Jew, if you must understand the law and you understand the government of the law and how justice and empirical evidence is very important when convicting or saying that somebody's guilty of does X, Y, and Z. So when you saying, oh, I am a Jew, he was based off, I say text, I mean, you have a chapter starting Deuteronomy 28 after, not the blessings, because we're Judaics and we believe in the Paleo God, and we also believe that by faith that we claim the blessings. This is how we know that we are.
No, you shouldn't have said that, because you that's a contradiction. All right, you can't say in 1 minute, well, they have based off of texts that we don't trust, and you got to have empirical evidence, and you have to show proof. But we got faith, dog. The very definition of faith in the scriptures. Let's grab that. Let's go to Hebrews. Hebrews 11. Hebrews 11 and 1. It says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. That's the clear-cut definition of faith. And the Lord did even say in the beginning that this people would be of no faith. And you seeing it in real time. Yeah, Deuteronomy 32 and 20. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very froward generation, children in whom is no faith. And that's why we see an influx of Israelites all on social media, mainly on TikTok. And they're, giving their reasons why they left the Hebrew Israelites, or they're no longer a Hebrew Israelite, or don't join the Hebrew Israelite camps. Because Jake, they don't have faith. It's already predestined that a lot of our people are not going to believe. But that lot is not going to fall on the very elect, because the election are going to obtain everything that is written. All right. While the rest of our people are going to be blinded. So this doesn't surprise that one bit. But going back to old boy and what he's saying is a contradiction. And so you claim the blessings, that makes you a Jew. We say that, we're cursed, which is, I don't know what world you're living in, but Jake is clearly under the curse. All right. We're still in the land of our captivity, the place that we were brought captive to. We still serve this man. We still have to pay taxes. Do you live in America? You pay taxes. You paying tribute to the king, to your slave masters. You still bind by all these different contracts. You owned by the corporation. Your name's still spelled in caps on your mail. Yeah. You gotta pay property tax. You still gotta pay your registration. You got to get permission to leave the country. You in captivity. Your ancestors that built this land on free slave labor, being exploited, being broken down systematically. All these things happen to you. Did your ancestors reap any reparations that Jake still to this day is trying to fight for? So how are you claiming the blessing? Because your faith said, okay, well, why can't we believe that we're the true chosen people based off of what the Lord said would happen to us as a result of breaking his command? So Jake will find any reason to just, go against the grain. All right. Now, the scriptures do say that when the Lord will find an afflicted in a poor people. See if I could try to find that. Yep. It's Zephaniah 3 and verse 12. And it says, I will also leave in the midst of thee an afflicted and poor people, and they shall trust in the name of the Lord. So before the Lord redeems us, delivers us, Israel is going to be afflicted and poor. So if that's so, then, what's the blessing? We're going to be delivered from the hand of our enemies. All right. The scripture said that we will be scattered among all people and there will be no ease. All right. Let me go to that. It won't be easy. Deuteronomy 28:64 says, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods. All right, Allah, the Christian, Renaissance Christian, Edomite God, the Chesre, Guadalupe, Saint Mary, the Egyptian gods, whatever, wherever they're scattered to, right? Which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone, and among these nations thou shalt find no ease. Are you at ease right now? You living at ease? You comfortable? You ain't going through nothing. You ain't tired. Come on, bro. You might not be an Israelite talking like that, man. Because Israel, even if they famous, it ain't easy. Jake is stressed. Okay? Even if you got money. Who wants to dwell in this environment? The whole earth is cursed right now. So it ain't easy for nobody, so especially these people. It says, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart and a failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. That's depression. A lot of our people are depressed. That's why they stay weeded up. That's why they stay drinking all the damn time. They try to numb themselves of their reality, getting on drugs, And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and thou shalt have none assurance of thy life. Why? Because Jake have a low life expectancy. Their lifespan is very short. Because in Kershaw, you be in a city, where you got to constantly look over your shoulder. You constantly at danger. Your own people, they're quick to do something evil to you in a second. Robbery, murder. It ain't even safe among your own. You go, you go to any place in the world where our people are at, and that's the environment. You go down to Brazil, you go down to Venezuela, you go to, El Salvador, Mexico, you go to the Caribbean, and it can get dangerous. These other nations, they're more unified. That's why, they prosper more. So all that energy amongst our people is because they're cursed. So how isn't this evidence? And as a matter of fact, let me jump up real quick. How do we forget this? Deuteronomy 28 and 45, it says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And our people ain't keeping his statutes and commandments. You ain't even keeping it. Why your hair long? What fabric is the clothes that you got on? Are they all 100% the pure fabric? What is my man talking about? It says, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So this is a generational curse. All right, we're going to know for sure. All right, because in the kingdom, these worries and these different circumstances that we face now as a nation will no longer be a thing. That's how we're going to know that we've been freed, that the curse has been broken off. All right. Having a trembling heart, failing of eyes, sorrow of mind. The future doesn't look too bright. You're pessimistic about the future. Jacob be in school, trying to get good grades and playing ball, basketball, football. He might be a star player, probably got scouts looking at him. And before you know it, his life get taken away in some street shit. So the other nations don't have to face that. They don't have to deal with that. They live to be old age, and then they have children, and they leave substance to their children. Their children grow up and live to be old, and it just continues the cycle. And then when you see the stranger that comes over here, they overpass you, right? Economically. That's in the curse as well. The stranger that is beside you shall get up above you very high, and thou shall be brought low. They shall be the head, you shall be the tail. You shall not lend to them, but they shall lend to thee. So, come on, man. Jacob's at the bottom as a nation. So when we get delivered, that's when the suffering will stop. It's Revelation 21. Revelation 21 and 1. This is when the kingdom finally gets established on earth, because that's where the kingdom will be, on earth. All right. After the nations get subdued. All right. Revelation 21 and 1, it says, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. All the nations that were ruling over us, no more. And I, John, saw the holy city. This is Israel, the elect of Israel, New Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High, out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. All right. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men, and he will dwell with them. So the Lord's presence is going to be with his government, his people, the ones that make it and be saved out of the tribulation. It says, and they shall be his people, and the Most High God himself shall be with them and be their God. And these other nations, they're going to look at us as so. They're going to be like, hey, God is definitely with y'all. All right. And they're going to serve us. They're going to look at us finally with value. All right. With reverence. They're going to treat us like we're gods on earth, because the Most High is going to be, he's going to glorify his people, starting with his elect. They're going to share the glory that the Messiah has. Okay. They're going to be changed. They're going to be immortal. All right. Extraterrestrial, incorruptible. It says, and the Most High God will wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow. And that's one of the curses that I just read. So when does this take place? This is going to happen when after the deliverance, after the salvation and the destruction of the first world, the first heaven and earth, which would be Esau's world. His world is going to pass away through thermonuclear destruction, which hey, are you looking at the news right now? It's heating up with between the U.S. and Iran, and Russia is giving a big warning. All that's going to escalate to the end of this current empire, this current kingdom. That's when the curses are going to be are broken off of us, and the Lord's going to come and deliver us. So it will be no more death, because the mortal shall put on immortality. Neither sorrow, because why? Because the curses are going to be erased. There will not be sorrow of heart anymore. It says, nor crying, neither shall there be any pain, right? Because we're going to be in new bodies that's not subject to pain. It says, for the former things are passed away. All right. All those things will pass away. Even our sins, our past sins are going to be removed. Okay. And he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I will make all things new. And he said unto me, write, for these words are true and faithful. So these things are going to happen. And that's our faith. His words are true and faithful. So we believe it, because we believe his words to be true and faithful. We believe that we're the people that suffer in those curses because of our disobedience, but now we're coming back. Our Heavenly Father sent his only begotten Son to die on that cross. All right, as a down payment to give us the Holy Spirit, so that we can have the full understanding of this overall experience. Why we had to fall, our rising again, our awakening, understanding the purpose of the Lord, putting these nations over us, and how he's going to bring them down, and he's going to lift us back over the nations, and how we're going to rule. All right. We're going to rule over our oppressors. All these things are all documented here in the prophecies contained in this book. So if you don't believe that, then hey, like the scriptures say, what if some did not believe? Let me get it. Romans 3. Our people are a rebellious house, man. They prove and show it every time. Romans 3:3, it says, for what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? God forbid, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. Okay. So we'll let the Most High be true. Okay. Now let me get this other precept that I don't want to forget to bring out. All right. This is what we're going to receive. All right. It's a Revelation 22:1. It says, and he shewed me a pure pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of the Most High and of the Lamb. And in the midst of the city of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. All right, so we're going to have this word in us. This word is what heals us. All right, we're going to have the tree of life. All right. Let me get Sirach. Let me get two scriptures, actually. The one, this is Revelation, not Revelation, Sirach 19 and verse 20. And it says, the fear of the Lord is all wisdom. Matter of fact, we start at 19. It says, the knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life. And they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality. The fear of the Lord is all wisdom, and then all wisdom is the performance of the law and the knowledge of his omnipotency. All right, and we're going to perform his law perfectly when we're changed. Okay, and we're going to know from that the Most High is definitely all powerful. All right, and let me get the second one. Let's go to Sirach 2. Not 2, Salakia. Actually, no, not Sirach. Second Esdras. Salakia on that. Let me get Second Esdras. The second chapter, starting at the 10th verse, and it says, Thus saith the Lord unto Esdras, tell my people that I will give them the kingdom of Jerusalem, which I would have given unto Israel. Their glory also will I take unto me, and give these the everlasting tabernacles, as those bodies, which I have prepared for them. They shall have the tree of life for an ointment of sweet savor. They shall neither labor nor be weary. So we're not going to be tired. We're not going to have to labor because we're going to be at rest. Because the Prince of Peace is coming to give us that rest. So we're not going to have to labor. Okay? We're going to rest from our hard bondage where we were made to serve. It says, go and you shall receive, pray for a few days unto you, that they may be shortened. Jake don't want to do that. They think that they're in their kingdom now. They think they're blessed now, you know. Having to be subject to taxes, GMOs, foods, and beverages that's causing all type of illnesses, chronic illnesses, diseases, cancers. You know, you get into marriage with a woman who's already been passed around, who's had many partners before you got with her. Come on, man. This is clearly not our rest. The kingdom is already prepared for you. Watch. So the Lord, he has it prepared. We just got to wait. We're waiting for our redemption. We're waiting on that day. So when that happens, this is what's going to follow through. Verse 3, and there, back in Revelation 22, verse 3, and there shall be no more curse, but the throne of God and of the Lamb shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him. And they shall see his face, and his name shall be in their foreheads. And that's the elect. Okay. So there won't be no more curse. So what's wrong with our faith? But you get to have faith only because you're, you identify with the blessing. So that makes you a Jew. Come on, man. There's all type of strange arguments and doctrines out there with Jake, man. Let me get this in Proverbs and then we'll close. And this is going to continue to happen until we're just in the kingdom. Say Proverbs 23. Yeah, this is Proverbs 23 and 29. It says, who have woe, who have sorrow, who have contentions, who have babbling, Jake. That's all you hear all throughout the TikTok world, social media, these different platforms, these different podcasts. It's just babblings, man. It don't lead to nowhere, no solution, no nothing. Who have wounds without cause, who have redness of eyes. They that tarry long at the wine and they that go to seek mixed wine. That's why Jake is scattered. You know, listening to this guy or that guy, or, you know, going from this doctrine to that doctrine. That's why they're bugged out. Okay. So all these contentions and babblings and disputings and arguments, that's going to continue to happen until the deliverance. And Jake is going to be blinded. All right, because Prophet Isaiah asked the angel, you know, how long shall this be? You know, Jake being blinded, you don't know what the hell is going on. He said until the cities be without inhabitants and wasted. So the destruction is going to have to come. So that's pretty much my response to this, and hopefully this was edifying. I'm giving all honor, praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.